We made it. It's week 8. It's the final week of our course. Thank you so much for going on this journey with us, and hopefully you've learned a whole bunch of stuff along the way. I did want to highlight a few things for this week, just like always. The main focus here being your ISTE portfolio. So we have talked about it in previous modules, but I kind of wanted to just sum it all up here within this final module. Talk a little bit more about those standards for educators. So if you haven't done so, which you obviously should have, seeing as how our project is due here this week, I really want you to unlock the standards. So hopefully you've noticed that on the standards, you can click the plus signs and they'll expand to give you, smaller, more individualistic standards to go along with the larger headings. But I wanted to take a moment just to talk a little bit about those larger headings. So, we see things like learner, right? An ISTE educator or somebody who's following the standards is somebody who values learning, right? There's someone who values leadership, who is seeking those opportunities to be a leader in this area, who's somebody that's going to be a good digital citizen, who values collaboration and working well with others, who focuses on design and who is, creating things not just for their content, but to also make them engaging for others. Facilitators, people who support student achievement and who are trying to actively facilitate their lessons with, good, meaningful content. And lastly, those analysts, so teachers who drive their instruction and who support students by analyzing products and what they see online and how that is going to find a place within their classroom, right? So there's 7 different things that we listed off, right? Learner, leader, citizen, collaborator, designer, facilitator, analyst. ISTE signs off on these, right, as the instructional ISTE signs off on these, right, kind of as that program that oversees good technology use, right, all throughout the world. But these standards are just good teaching practices, right? A successful teacher in our era has to be able to do all of these things. This isn't technology specific. This is just being a good teacher in our modern era. And that's one of the reasons why I really like having this as the backbone of this course. So I wanted to take a moment, like I said, just to kind of outline those and just to kind of point out that really there's nothing special about any of those when it comes to technology. Utilizing those different areas, those different standards just makes one a good teacher here in our modern era. So like I said, just want to take a beat to kind of talk about that. The last thing that we'll talk about here as a part of our course is the difference between gamification and game-based learning. So a few lessons ago, talked about cool math and how it's not necessarily cool and it's not really math at all. So kind of keeping a critical eye on what your students are using and where they're going, especially when we think about their free time and what kinds of things they get themselves into if they have time to work on devices on their own. I think being able to pull those kinds of things into a classroom space and use them for learning purposes is always a great way to kind of hook your students and make them interested in your content. The other thing I wanted to mention is in your lesson area, I have a resource called Classcraft. And Classcraft is a really great way to kind of bring all of the things that students love about, like role-playing games online and bring them into the real world. So you can use Classcraft as a way to help students get achievements in the real world and then, issue them points in the digital world where then they can, build their own little communities in there and work together, again, not just in the real world, but also in the online world. So Classcraft is a really fun tool for that. Throughout our course, We've learned all kinds of great strategies and discussed all kinds of wonderful theories and come across a whole bunch of new tools. By no means should you try to apply all of these in your classroom, at the end of this course. There's just far too much. There's no way that you could possibly do that. But the challenge that I will put forth for you is that every 9 weeks, let's say, try to find one or two different things that you can do that's going to modify your classroom from that previous 9 weeks or the previous semester. So if that means you're going to redefine one lesson that you've always done, by infusing some technology, that's awesome. If 9 weeks or one semester you decide that you're going to try and create some kind of shift in your classroom, so you're going to utilize technology in a certain way that directs students in a completely different direction than what they were in the previous one, that's awesome too. There's a lot in technology that is constantly changing, right? There's almost no way that one person could possibly be up on all of the innovations and all of the changes that are happening within our modern technological world, and that's okay. So being able to say, I'm learning just the same as you are, students, I'm trying my best. Here's a new thing. We're going to try this lesson, and we're all going to be in this together. Showing that kind of vulnerability is going to be really endearing to your students. And having the ability to say, wow, this really stunk. I'm going to change it this way next time is a skill that I think our society is losing. So being able to recognize mistakes, learning from those mistakes, and changing or adapting to fit them in the future, I think is something that is extremely important and is something that, again, I think your students will very much respect you for doing. So take chances. Make sure that you are, following along with all of all the laws that we've talked about in the past, in terms of like keeping our students safe. Try new tools, try new theories, try new lessons. Find resources online that are going to help you to better help your students. I know that this isn't the last time that we'll speak because, we have our conversations in our live meeting this week, as well as our discussion board. So I know that I'll catch you there, but I do want to say thank you so much for being a part of this course, that this isn't the end of our working relationship by any means. If you have questions in the future, whether that's 3 days from now, 3 years from now, if you need me, please by all means feel free to reach out, and I'll be more than happy to help you successfully integrate technology within your classroom. So thank you again for being a part of our course. And like I said, if you need anything going forward, then please let me know. All right. Have a great week and best of luck with implementing technology into your classroom spaces. All right. I'll see you later.